Man, the feels in this chapter, Horikoshi, what are you doing? Had me just all sad and stuff, because from start to finish, it once again just signified that Endeavor deserves redemption. It sucks that Endeavor had to go through what he's going through and still going through it, but at the end it just showed what a real man Endeavor's like, and he's taking his bumps and bruises in stride, and everything that went down with his family, he's still to this day, at this point now, maybe he made his mistakes in the past, but nowadays he's trying to rectify for what he's done, and oh man, it was some sad stuff. Let's talk about it. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. So you definitely, for starters, need some type of comedic relief because this chapter was real emotional. So when you get lines like Bakugo telling Endeavor in the beginning, oh god, you smell like a grandpa and stuff, you need that because this was a very dramatic, emotional chapter with the Todoroki family, Endeavor and all them. Just kind of, once again, getting to a point of like being apologetic, trying to get acceptance, trying to get understanding in the midst of all of this. Like that villain ending, if you think about it, it really signified an ending of whatever was going on with this family. I think to a certain point, like even when we get the flashes in there of like just a chapter or two ago where Natsuo was hearing Bakugo and Deku talking about, well, you're probably ready to forgive him. He was ready to forgive him, but at the same time it's hard, and this felt like just a really sad family problem that I'm just like, damn, this is sad. Because the chapter starts off and you see Bakugo and Natsuo getting squeezed, hugged by Endeavor, and it just shows that this man has changed and this man is going through it. Like, for him to embrace them like that, this is the same hot-headed guy that would treat people like dirt, didn't care. It was all about making his son become the #1 hero. And again, even though he got it in a way, in a Pyrrhic way of becoming #1 hero, that really humbled him. I think a lot of what happened with All Might, despite the fact that it had a lot of impact on Deku and the entire world of, you know, My Hero Academia, I think it had a very, very large role in where Endeavor's character would go from there, because he finally achieved his goal of being #1, but it wasn't the way he wanted. He didn't surpass Might, and now he'll never have the opportunity. So I think that that was a very humbling experience for Endeavor that led to the man that we're seeing in these chapters, where he's embracing his son, where he's just there like really emotional about things. Because we see, of course, that the three of them were able to put a stop to ending. Todoroki has him frozen up. And then even after Bakugo's trying to gloat, which again, you need somebody like Bakugo. In chapters like this, you need that because this is really freaking sad. So you got Bakugo there trying to gloat like, hey, didn't you tell us if we do this before blah, blah, blah? And Endeavor's just like, yeah, nah, you guys were awesome. Like, yo, this was just like, man, I don't care what anybody says. For the people that were giving death threats to Horikoshi, you better not give Endeavor any type of redemption. Like, leave it the way, like, nah, this character, first of all, he was just humbled by everything that happened. He's changed a lot. Even when Bakugo was trying to taunt him, old Endeavor would have snapped. But this emotional moment, this trauma that he's been through, again, I continue to say, whatever happened with Toya back in the day, now that Endeavor has changed, it is affecting him a lot. Like, once you're in the zone, right? And I think that maybe some people could relate to this. When you're in the zone and you're just laser beam visioned onto something, sometimes you forget who you are and you lose yourself. Sometimes things around you can be crumbling and you can be acting a certain way, and maybe you realize it, maybe you don't, but it really destroys your surroundings. So when you finally get to where you're trying to go and you look at the path that you carved to get there, sometimes it'll really mess you up and it'll change you very greatly. And again, this is an example of that with Endeavor, because he even says thank you for, you know, covering my mistake, which for Endeavor to admit he made a mistake, this is the route that, and I hope it don't take Bakugo all this time to get to where Endeavor is now, because this is something that is so far-fetched from Bakugo, and even if he does, he'll say it begrudgingly, like, thank you, now shut up and die. Like, you know, that's how Bakugo will handle it. But again, that's the difference between a kid that's still trying to find his way and a grown-ass man that's been through some stuff and is trying to change his ways, and he's changed a lot. And then the melodramatic stuff with, you know, Endeavor saying, hey, you know, I froze up because I thought if I would have saved you, you would have never forgive me. And honestly, Natsuo, I don't want to call him like any names, because just being honest with you, some people, they have trouble with accepting things. Like, at the end of the day, he probably wants to apologize to his father, or accept his father's apology, not apologize, accept his father's apology, but it's hard, and sometimes it takes a lot. And I just hope, again, that it doesn't take Endeavor dying, it doesn't take Endeavor's death for Natsuo to finally say, I accept the apology, you know, because in this one, he's first of all starts screaming, get off of me, like, and you know, it just shows, again, this was a family crisis that we're seeing, and I'm surprised to see something like this in My Hero Academia. I mean, we've touched up on the Todoroki family from time to time, but to see just how much Endeavor's actions affected his family to the point that even Natsuo says, I'm never gonna forgive you, which he will. It just takes time. Like, he's just now, after how long, almost his whole life, hearing from Toya of what his dad was like and just seeing everything that Endeavor did, now seeing it change, it's going to take a while. And I'm just, again, hoping that it's not that it's going to be his ultimate demise that will take Natsuo to finally say, you know what, I forgive you, which maybe it won't. Maybe the foreshadowing that we was getting, honestly, and not even maybe, I think for the most part, the big foreshadowing of Endeavor having that dream of his family laughing and him not being there was what this chapter brought forth. The ending of the chapter where he basically buys a house for his, you know, his former wife or his wife or whatever, and his other, you know, the rest of his family to live in, and he's not gonna go. I think that that's part of the dream and the tragedy of Endeavor's life. Right now, honestly, you could say up until this point, and maybe things will be different, but Endeavor's lived a life of tragedy, if you think about it. Neglected his family, abused his family, did some horrible things, treated his family terribly, and now that he realizes everything that he's done, and it's like all in his face, it's hard for him to, you know, make amends for the things he's done. And even then, even after his son says that, you know, I'm not as nice as Shoto, I can't forgive you, and he says, you don't gotta forgive me, I don't want you to forgive me, just allow me to atone for what I've done. And oh man, this was like, yo, this isn't Shonen Jump, really? Like, this is some deep and tough stuff, because honestly, I'm sure for a lot of people out there, something like this is kind of relatable. And again, love to see it, hate to see it, I don't know. It's like, it's interesting, you know what I'm saying? It's an enjoyable series, but at the same time, it's tough to read. And then also at the same time, for me, I personally felt like the villain ending, when he's like, no, Endeavor, what are you doing? Don't change like that. For me, I felt like that was Horikoshi having some commentary of some fans of how they feel about Endeavor, because I'm sure Japanese fans have their own opinion on Endeavor's character, likewise with, of course, the Western fans, because I felt like that was a commentary from the fandom of like, oh my god, what are you doing? No, I don't want to see, because a lot of people love seeing Endeavor at the same time as, well, he was an asshole through and through, he ruined his family's life, might as well leave the dude be the asshole he was brought up to be. So now that he's changing it, I felt as though that was some of the fandom, the really loud minority of them saying, leave him as an asshole, leave him as, like, to be honest with you, Endeavor, it's not like he's gonna become a softie after this point. Yeah, you got him in a vulnerable moment. Yeah, when it comes to his family, after just witnessing potentially another one of his children dying, he's gonna break a little bit, but that's not gonna be that Endeavor's character is going to completely have a 180. He's not gonna just be a nice guy from now on, but it shows that, again, he's trying. And for the people that really just hate Endeavor's character, whether it be that he's changing, you don't want him to change, or you want him to change, whatever the case may be, I think what Horikoshi has done with his character has been phenomenal. This was some deep stuff for, I don't want to say for a shonen, because shonen can be some very engaging and complex stuff to begin with, but for it to feel very grounded to reality, the situation. You got all the aesthetics of, like, you know, superpowers and everything surrounding it, but at the core is a broken family. Also a little foreshadowing that Bakugo got his hero name that he's about to eventually let go. But I want to say, was it Best Genius that he was with? And obviously Best Genius is supposedly dead, but he said, I gotta tell somebody my hero name first before you, because Deck was like, ooh, what is it? I'm imagining he's talking about Best Genius, so I'm imagining, and again, maybe, I hope I'm not off, I'm pretty sure it was Best Genius. So if it is Best Genius, then that'll be a tough pill for Bakugo to swallow, assuming when he finds out that Best Genius is seemingly dead, for him to say, damn, you know, that was the person I'm supposed to tell my hero name. And maybe he'll show up and Bakugo will be able to tell him, and then he'll die in the war, because I'm expecting major deaths coming to this big war with the League and all these villains and everything. Like, I'm expecting some casualties, and maybe Best Genius survives from what, you know, Hawk's fate, so to speak, with his death, but I wouldn't be surprised if he hears Bakugo's hero name and then takes a L saving Bakugo. That'd be sick. And then we get the ending of the chapter with reaching the point of what Endeavor's been saying all along about having this dream of his family being happy without him, because he buys them, you know, he says, I'm gonna buy a house for you guys, but I'm staying behind. And that's really, really tough. Honestly, this whole chapter, very emotional, very, very nicely done, very intimate, very, just, I don't know, like the feels was going crazy through this one. I could relate to it to a certain degree, and it's just, I don't know, I'm at a loss of words. I just really thought it was awesome. Curious what you guys think about this, though. Do you think that this, you know, his family getting a house far away from him or at a different location? Do you think that that's going to resolve some of the stuff of what we thought would mean that Endeavor is going to die in the war? Maybe he won't. Do you think that eventually at some given point his family will be able to forgive him while he is alive, you know, and it's not going to take a death? Also, what do you think about Bakugo at the chapter? I go a lot, like, you need stuff like that because it was just so intense, so emotional. It's like, yeah, Bakugo, crack off a joke once in a while. I need a break from the feels, okay? And your real thoughts and expectations for My Hero Academia chapter 253 and beyond. Man, I don't know what else to say, okay? Damn it, you broke my feels. That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links, of course, are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in.
Enjoy the next ride, but I was the best ride.